I bought a bit of makeup over the holidays, so I need to do a declutter soon, but before that, I wanted to spend some time with the oldest products in my collection and see, do I need to replace them when I let them go, or is this something that needs to remain in the past? First, I have MAC Face and Body foundations, and these I bought in May 2020 and then the beginning of 2021. So these are quite old, quite expired, and they've also reformulated this, so I don't even think I can buy this again. But I remember really liking this foundation. I feel like I also had the Glossier Skin Tint around the same time, and this just felt like a step up, like it gave you a bit more coverage. And so it also had a bit more of a noticeable presence on the skin, but nothing too bad, not like a real full-fledged foundation. So I think I liked to mix these. I just got two different shades. One's a little warmer than the other, so I could mix them depending on what my skin was looking like. Let's give this a go. I haven't done this in a minute. I've made a rather large concoction here, a rather large runny concoction, but I'm just gonna mix it on my hand and then I'll apply it on my face and we can just kind of blend it in with our fingers and it'll start to thicken up as we rub it in, and you can just immediately start to see some more coverage appearing. And it is a little buildable, so I'm just gonna add some more on some little darker spots that I have. And I love how beautifully this applies with the hands. It's perfect for traveling. And I'm someone who, when I bought this, I was very much not a brush or sponge girl. I just wanted to use my fingers. And this just fit perfectly into my routine. So here's half of my face done. It's very light, but it just feels slightly filtered and perfected and a little dewy. I really like it. It is also so hydrating. So this is so nice for a dry skin girl like myself, especially in winter when all of the life is being sapped from my skin. It really just feels like skincare. Oh my God, that looks so nice. I still really like this. I wish that they didn't reformulate it because words on the street is that it is not the same product, which doesn't make sense because this is so beloved, but maybe I'll look for something similar because this is the exact type of coverage product I would want. Like, if I wanted anything more, I can go in with concealer, which is exactly what we'll do now. The oldest concealer that I have in my collection is this Bobbi Brown Skin Corrector stick, and it is from 2022. Which isn't that bad, all things considering. We just came from the year 2020. I have it in the shade Dark Peach, and I like that it's flexible enough that I could just wear it on its own without concealer on top, and it wouldn't look out of place on my face. It's also a super creamy formula, so I like to just rub my finger on it to warm up the product, and then apply it just like that. And I like that the creaminess helps it reflect light a bit, so it just adds even more brightness under my eyes. But it's like natural, it's not like a wide awake kind of look. I think I would repurchase this, maybe in a different shade. I'd love to have something a little bit deeper that I could use on the rest of my face and then keep this shade for the under eyes. It's just nice for a quick look to have something handy there that doesn't need to be worn with a full face. Like I could just wear this and nothing else and look a little fresher. And now let's do some bronzer. My oldest bronzer is the Makeup by Mario Skin Enhancer. I have the shade Medium Dark, and I got this baby in June 2022. So I got this exclusively because of the hype on social media. It felt like you could not escape people talking about how this was the best, the most natural bronzer. And I don't know, at the beginning I did buy into it when I first got it. I thought it looked very beautiful and glossy and gave you really hydrated skin, which, you know, having dry skin is something I'm always aspiring for. I think because of the shade that I got, it wasn't doing much for me. In the summer I want to look uber bronzy and have it be noticeable, and this was just a little like too much of a whisper, too elusive. Like I can't really see it on my face. And it does give this pretty like plumpness, like hydrated look, but I don't know if I want that on my forehead and on my jaw. Over time I wasn't loving how it looked when I used it, especially at the levels that I need to apply it to get the color to show up on my skin. It just felt like I was getting greasy, and if I with super dry skin am feeling greasy, I don't know how people with oily skin can use this product. So needless to say, I will not be repurchasing this, even in a shade deeper, because the dark one was just a little too red for my undertone, so there just wasn't really a shade that matched my depth and undertone, which is, you know, fine, because I found the Charlotte Tilbury one and I absolutely love how that one looks on me. So Mr. Mario, it's time to say goodbye. And I really think the main reason I've been holding on to this is just the way I decorated it. It's so cute, and I'll just be sad to see these stickers leave. I'm like, maybe I can depot this and put something else in there. Okay, the last thing I'd mention about this product is that it never really dries down. You're getting all of that hydrated wetness, and it's going to feel like that. Like if I accidentally touched my face, I could just feel like slippiness on my finger afterwards, and I did not like that. So now I've got a lot of juicy glow going on that I desperately need to set. So I'm going to reach for my oldest powder bronzer, and this is Caramel Cutie by Fenty Beauty in their stalk'r powder bronzer formula. I don't even know when I got this. I'm going to say like 2018. It is before records were created. I like to take just a big fluffy brush and kind of stamp it all over my face. This falls in the category of like old products that I still use constantly. And I did not realize how old it was until I started this project. Oh, I didn't even tell you about it. I went through my entire makeup collection, and I went through my Sephora receipts, all of my like order confirmations, my credit cards, and saw when I purchased all these products and put them in. And I'm gonna go and also add like swatches and stuff. I just wanna have like a database for my makeup collection. So when I'm like, instead of scrolling Instagram and looking at other people's makeup and wanting to buy theirs, I can look at my own. And it's also just gonna be good to reference. I'm gonna track how often I use products, and I think it'll just be really fun. So maybe I'll make a video sharing how I'm doing all of that. But I was shocked to see that this thing that I've been using constantly is probably over 5 years old, and it smells great. I think that's the joy of owning powder products and why I'm largely moving away from creams, because I just don't go through makeup fast enough to warrant having a whole bunch of cream products. I think within the last maybe 6 months or so, since the summer when I had my rotation that had the NARS powder bronzer, I haven't used this one much because it's a bit lighter and I don't have to do as many layers to get it to show up with the NARS bronzer. So I think now that it's winter and I'm losing my tan, this is sufficient, just a little kiss of warmth. It's also super smooth and never applies patchy for me. I just really like this, and using it as an eyeshadow is just like my go-to if I'm feeling very lazy with my makeup that day. I think I would rebuy this if I didn't have 2 Hourglass palettes with bronzers, the NARS one, and I also have the Makeup by Mario Master Mattes, and that has a ton of browns for eye looks, so I don't need a kind of basic medium brown for that. So I think I don't know, I haven't been seeing any like adverse effects, so I think I'm actually going to keep this even though it is extremely old. As long as it's not going by my eyes, I think we're okay. This next product is also so old that I have no record of when I bought it. I want to say it was like 2018, like when I first started my YouTube channel. It is extremely old, but it is the Maybelline Master Chrome in Molten Gold. This highlighter is just so stunning, super creamy, super reflective. When I first bought this, I would apply it with a brush, but I was feeling lazy and used my fingers the other day, and it blended in so well. I don't know if it's just like the heat of my fingers or something, but it almost made it look like a liquid highlight. I think I bought this because I was probably in a highlighter phase like everyone else, but I couldn't afford getting like was the Amrezy highlighter around that time, or was that after? I don't know, whatever luxury highlighter was going around, I was like, I need the drugstore version of that, please. And I really feel like it looks super luxe and expensive on the skin with the way it blends in. It's just all about prep, I feel, and application. The rest of it is just marketing and branding, because once it's on your face, it's really hard to tell the difference between more luxury products and drugstore. You know, there's nuance to that too. I like a nice product. I like good packaging. I digress. I really like this. I think I'm gonna keep this around also because it's not going near my eyes and hasn't been breaking me out. I'll like use this periodically. I really haven't been in a super highlighty mood. Even my Charlotte Tilbury Goldgasm wand, which is my go-to, has been kind of neglected. I think I've just been using so many cream blushes or baked powder blushes that give me enough glow. I haven't been reaching for them. And I feel like that's kind of been a trend lately, just kind of abstaining from highlighter, but maybe it's gonna come back in a really like glossy, glowy way. I have no idea. Let's move on to blush. My oldest cream blush is a little scary to look at, so that will be in the declutter portion of my videos, but my oldest powder blush is still kicking, and this is by Cosmetics. This is their Venetian Rose shade, and I got this in March 2021, so we're going on 4 years here, and Smells like nothing, which is exactly what I like to hear. Oh, I'm curious. Should we set first? Flip it, reverse it. We're going to do powder first. This is the Laura Mercier Candleglow Sheer Perfecting Powder in 4. Like my other ones, no clue when I bought this. I distinctly remember I was in Macy's and I was going to work or like on my lunch break at Target or something. So this was definitely in like 2017. I was looking for a powder that wasn't super drying because by then I knew I had dry skin and I couldn't get one of the like super mattifying ones like the RCMA powder or something. I don't think I really knew what I was doing, but some lady showed this to me and it looked very natural. Like it just gave you a bit of a satin finish with a little bit of sheen. And I said, thank you. So if I do the math, that is devastatingly old. That is 7 to 8 years old powder. But I use it all the time. Like if I'm traveling, I'll bring my Hourglass palette, which has lighter finishing powders for under the eyes. But I'll always bring this because I don't want to bring one of my big setting powders that has like the sifter and I'm going to open it and it goes, poof. This is so much better. I have no desire to get rid of this. It just gives the most natural kind of like satiny glow. I think maybe Hourglass makes something like this now if I got one of the deeper finishing powders, but I don't want to when I have this. I also don't think they make this anymore, which makes me even more reluctant to part with it in a declutter. So that was domed at one point. It's just crazy that it's lasted me so long and it's gonna last me a little bit longer. Now let's get back into my powder blush. Again, meet Venetian Rose. I got this because M Cosmetics line, when she launched it, Michelle Phan, it just seemed so ethereal, the whole thing. Like the little eyeshadow palettes with their kind of strange little triangle shapes, all of it just seemed very aspirational to me, and so was the pricing of everything was aspirational. So I remember I got this and one of the serum blushes. I don't know if y'all remember when those were everywhere. They look like little watercolor paints on your cheeks. And I just felt so giddy getting them. And I don't know, it's nice to have, even though these are so chunky, it just reminds me of a time when I was just getting into makeup and so excited about the possibilities and these like beautiful trinkets I could have and also put on and feel really special. Even if the product itself wasn't absolutely gorgeous, I feel like I would have a hard time parting with this. But luckily it is, and it is a beautiful, like I think it's kind of a cool pink, cool neutral. But it is quite shimmery because of the baked formula, so I think that's why it takes me a little longer to get through it. I don't know how I could ever hit pan on this unless I exclusively wore it for years. I think sometimes I'm afraid to reach for it because in my head it's still this like most luxury purchase that I got and I don't want to use it, but I'm a big girl now and I have big girl money, so it's okay. I can use it, I can rebuy it if I need to, but it still has this air of being so precious to me. And I've also used this as more of a blush topper if I used like a pink cream blush and then added this on top, and it looks stunning. I think baked blushes are my favorite makeup product in general, which is unfortunate because I feel like mostly higher end brands carry this type of product aside from Milani's Luminoso blushes. But I know Kosas came out with those ones last year, but those seem pretty glittery. So I feel like it's kind of hit or miss when companies do them, but hopefully we see more in the future because I will gobble those up. Okay, let's talk eyes. My oldest eyeshadow palette is the Brown Sugar palette from Colourpop. This is their collab with Cutie. And these shades are so yummy for brown skin. And I think that's why it is so hard for me to part with this, even though I got this in November 2018. These are so old and they do go on my eyes and maybe they irritate it, I don't know. But I still use this product all of the time. Even though I have the Makeup by Mari Master Mattes, I'm still traveling with this because it has the shimmers. If I could just recreate this palette with eyeshadows that couldn't be in first grade, that would be great. But for now, I'm hanging on to it. I mean, we'll see how this goes. There's no mirror on this, hasn't been for years, but I still go to check my reflection in here, which is hilarious. My most used shades are Sorrel and I think this one Jamocha and Chai. This trio is so lovely. I love this kind of chocolatey brown shimmer, Auburn. But there's one shade in here that I never really use called Sauté. It's this like blue-brown kind of shifty one. So first I'm going to take that light neutral brown Jamocha and put that in my crease and also underneath my eye. Now I'm just going to take Sauté on my finger and apply that all over my lid. I think this is so pretty and simple. Okay, so I could just leave it here, but I wanted to also use my oldest eyeshadow, and this is one of the Bodyography glitter pigments in Comet. This very much looks purple in the pot, but once you kind of mix up the pigments, I feel like it's a bit more of like a cornflower blue. So I'm just going to tap a little bit of this in the center and see what it does. I think this combination looks so beautiful, and I don't know why I don't use either of these shades. I got this in 2019, and I think I've probably used it twice, now 3 times. This will certainly not be going anywhere. I think I have about 5 other Bodyography pigments, and I think I get confused when I go to use this because I see the purple and white, and I'm like, but I remember it doesn't look like that on the lids, which is another reason why I want to have this database of swatches so I can actually see what all my products look like on me. Be the Temptalia you want to see in the world. Also, if anyone wanted to remake this palette and who isn't Colourpop, I would buy this. I would buy 12 of these in a heartbeat. But let's just finish up the eyes. Another reason I've been hanging on to this is I love using the shade Sorrel to, not quite tightline, but just kind of stamp along my lash line and just make it look a little bit thicker. Somehow this is the perfect shade. Even the ones I have in the Makeup by Mario palette are just either a little bit too deep, too red. This is perfect. So I just took these two Sorrel and Henna, and I used it to do a little wing that's kind of subtle, you know, not as intense as a liquid liner, and I love doing that. I'm gonna use a little bit of the Maybelline on my inner corner. Alright, I just sprayed a little MAC Fix Plus. I am feeling super glowy, so let's move on to my last category, which are lips. My oldest lip liner, this is from Milani. It's Spice, and I use this all the time if I'm trying to do a pink look. It's like my only pink lip liner. I had no idea it was this old. I bought this in November 2020, so we are celebrating over 4 years together. We are very happy. And yeah, I've bought a lot of other lip liners, but I think I'm just bad at doing it, because so many that I buy just sit unused because the colors are totally off from how they look online and make me look corpsey. I think this is a pretty good lip liner for the money. I can't imagine I spent more than $8 on this back then. It is very easy to glide. I hate very like grabby and tuggy lip liners, but it smudges out really well. Yeah, I think this is like a solid, affordable lip liner. I really can't tell you much about higher end lip liners because I just refuse to spend more than I think $12 on a lip liner, but I think this one is pretty solid. My last oldie but goodie is this Bobbi Brown crushed oil infused lip gloss in the shade Force of Nature. It's like a neutral pink or mauve in my eyes. When I got this, I was in an era of all lipsticks looking too saturated on me and making me feel like my mouth was separate from my body. Didn't like that. But this was more muted, and I felt just like complimented my skin tone, added some shine. And I remember it was over $30 because it is Bobbi Brown, but even on my little entry-level salary, I remember thinking it was worth the money because it just looks so good and lasted a long time and nourished my lips. And I think I would totally rebuy this. I think I need to. I think I need to wipe this off soon because, what is this? Nearly 5 years. That's a bit long for a lip gloss. Even though it somehow smells the exact same, it has this kind of like clean, fresh scent that hasn't gone away, which is curious. But let me just put on mascara real quick. So this is a full face of the oldest makeup in my collection. I am shocked to see how much of it is from like 2020, 21, but I think that makes sense because I was very much in my getting into makeup phase and just buying a lot of stuff and trying out new things. And the ones that I still have today are obviously pretty great to have survived declutters and moves, and so it makes sense that I absolutely love this look. And I think I would rebuy most of these products. The only ones that I wouldn't rebuy are from brands that I'm not supporting anymore, or the Makeup by Mari one, which was just me trying out something that was hyped up and it didn't work out for me. Other than that, we have a really stacked lineup here, and some of them are gonna have to go because I don't want to have any skin issues, have enough of those. So this is a really nice swan song for some of these, but if you want to see which other ones are going to make the cut in my declutter, I will be filming that pretty soon because I need to bring in the new products that I brought to my collection, but I need to make room first. Stay tuned, and thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me, and I'll see you in my next video.